Welcome everyone back to DM141. In this session of DM140 or your Photo P Photoshop classwork, we're going to be working with more advanced tools. Of course, we're going to have to rely on the tools and the basics that we used in the previous 140 course. But the tools and stuff that we're learning are kind of more minute and not obvious right away. So what I would say is that make sure you kind of keep up a bit more. The capstone project in this course is a bit more intense, I would say, than the one previously. But I would also say that it's a bit cooler as well as we get a bit more freedom with what we're working with. Before we delve into our normal class structure, I just want to show off a few things here for your participation and our policies. So our academic orientation, we do this on our first day of the classes again, and because the syllabus speaks about it as well, I'm going to have to do it again. But again, for your winter 2021, it's pretty similar to what we've been going through before as well. Again, for this course, we're inside of the digital multimedia concentration, and you're doing the 141 coursework. As most of you know, please attend the class. Again, per our mid-quarter evaluations, I understand that the pandemic has a few people working a bit extra or there might be some events going on. Please, at any point, reach out to me via email for anything, regardless of how small it is. I would really like to communicate with you guys, but it's very hard for me if you guys just come in a bit later or some things are past due and you just tell me that stuff was going on. Allowing me to know beforehand makes it a lot easier for me to prep and to grade and to be more commending, or excuse me, I forgot the word I was going to say, apologies, but it allows me to be more nice about some things rather than having it be last minute. So make sure you keep me informed. I'm always on my email. I'm in the Zoom chat as well if you prefer Zoom chats. But again, whichever one you prefer, it's fine by me. Just don't leave me in the dark with some things. And again, this goes for attendance and stuff as well. If you have to leave for work at any point during the day, just let me know. And if it's a reoccurring issue, let me know as well. And we could try to work it out as too. Here's some important dates. We're already past these, or there's March up there as well. But we should be ending for our 141. Is it March 28th? So let me just take a look here. To believe it's the 22nd actually. Yeah, I think it's the 22nd. It might be the 28th as well. When we look at the syllabus, I'll double check too. But again, we have 5 weeks of this, Monday, Friday, 3 to 10 p.m. And we don't have a day off like we did last quarter, so our schedule should be on track. And after our 5 weeks, we'll do our capstone presentations like we did for 140, and we'll continue on. The deadline is already passed, but again, if you would like to change your section or schedule around, please reach out to Student Affairs. Again, there's also the satisfactory academic progress to maintain it, so always earning a C or better. I definitely give out some extra credit and stuff as well. I don't think I'm the hardest grader, but the thing that I found that makes people fail a bit in my experience so far, as it's not too long I was at CSI, but if you just don't submit stuff, that's really the only thing that can make you fail in this class. If you submit stuff and you're trying, I'm pretty lenient about it too. But just saying that you were behind in some things and like randomly stuff like that, and you're missing out on a capstone presentation and stuff, that's very bad for your grade. So just make sure on the days that they're due, make sure you're up with them. These stuff isn't crazily hard. It shouldn't take too long. But again, just let me know. I'm more lenient when it comes to missing assignments and stuff if you're in communication with me. So we always want to make sure that you are earning your full grade and getting the best grade that you can get. So just keep me up to date with that. And of course, this is I don't need to go over these too much, but just make sure that you're getting a C or above and that you're constantly completing the proper pace of completion. And the pace of completion is how many credits you earned over your attempted amount. Essentially, if you earn too many C's, this might affect you, but if you're earning B's and A's, you should be okay. And on your student calculator, or excuse me, on your page, Sorry, let me just make sure no one is in the waiting room. Sorry about that. On your student portal, there should be a calculator to double check if you are doing okay. Now, our final grade is going to be calculated like it is on the syllabus, and we'll go through the syllabus later. But as we said last quarter, there's a new guy here called participation, and our participation policy was a bit rocky at the start of DM140 because I was figuring it out, but I do think that I have it kind of tweaked out to make it work for our class and stuff. So again, Photoshop and Photopea, it's kind of solo work, and I want to make sure that everyone is able to understand the material. Because of that, I don't do too much group work. People's computers might not be as powerful as the other one. Someone might be doing more work than the other and stuff. And sometimes group work, when you're doing solo geared work, is a bit of an annoyance at sometimes, to be kind of blunt about it. So I definitely don't want to be forcing people into these uncomfortable situations, especially with all that's going on. So for our participation policy, I will go over it after we, or my policy for it as well. I will go over it after we speak a bit more on that stuff. But in general, your participation counts for 15% of your grade. So if you do zero of the participation activities here, I still am a bit more lenient with it, just based on, how you're interacting in the class and your timeliness. We'll go over that as well. But at the end of the day, if you want to earn the full credits, you will do the session participation activity that's a part of it. And then that will count for your participation for that session. Again, we have our quizzes, and I was actually speaking to my manager a bit about the quiz schedule and how I do it as well. Usually, I do it so that the quizzes and the capstone presentations are taking in the same day, and I might change it this time just because I noticed that some people were still taking the quiz while others were presenting, and I want to make sure that everyone is able to give their full time and energy for the presentations. So, the quizzes will be scheduled to take at that date, but what I will say is that if you maybe you're only able to retake the quiz if you fail it, and usually if you fail your quiz and you try to retake it right away, it's not going to help out too much. So make sure you can take a break from the quiz and you can retake it at a different date. We can just talk about it. But I will need to be enforcing a few stricter guidelines with the quizzes, such as changing the password after it's done so that people can't take it at a later date and stuff like that as well. So I want to make sure that everyone is taking the quizzes pretty seriously. And of course, I'm still going to be giving out the same help and slides like I did earlier. But I want to make sure everyone knows that the quizzes this time might be a bit more, I guess, strict about it in a way. But I want to make sure everyone is able to succeed in the quizzes. um, Again, that's this exam policy there. For your projects and assignments, I kind of talk about them a bit too much, but again, please just make sure they're submitted on time. I give quite a lot of lab time during our classes, and I'm waiting for questions, so please take advantage of that. Make sure, just put your nose to the grindstone sometimes to get them finished. The projects are doable. I'm not going to say they're easy or anything, but if you give yourself some time and enough space to work on them, you should be good to go and chip away at them as you'd like. What I did this quarter is I've enabled every project and assignment right away, so you guys can take the course at your own pace with what you're comfortable with. And what I usually do is I want to give the lectures and what we're doing in the same rate as the syllabus, but it's perfectly okay to go into a breakout room if you're on project 2 and you're a bit more ahead and you want to double check with me on something. I'm perfectly okay with jumping into a breakout room and talking with you about the project and going from there. I'm not going to be mad at you guys for going above and beyond your workspace, so just make sure that you can do that as well. And again, the session deadlines, I was a bit more lenient with them last quarter, but I did get in a bit of trouble. And I do want to make sure you guys succeed, but I also want to make sure I don't get fired right away. So for the deadlines and stuff, I know a lot is going on, but I have to be a bit more mean about it this course time. So if you have something that is due on session 5 or before it and you don't have it submitted, I won't be able to submit it after that. You won't be able to submit it again because of the cutoff date, and I have to instruct it a bit more seriously. because sometimes people can take advantage of it and stuff. So I want to make sure that everyone is on a fair playing ground there. I do read welcome. And yeah, and again, we have lots of time for this, and I give a hefty amount of lab time. So again, if you need more time in any of these, just communicate with me. But it's not fair for the other classmates and for me as well for you to say on session 7 that like, oh, I need to submit this stuff. I'm not doing this for the participation though. If you do miss out on a class and you rewatch the lecture and you try out the participation, that's fine for me. You can send it over, but I would need that by session 10, and we can speak more into participation when we get there. But again, just make sure you're up to date with your due dates. You guys are very capable of it. I'm preaching to the choir here, but again, for that. And again, your policy, you have to submit everything that is due by session 5 by 11:59 p.m. That session 5. And for the second half, again, you have until the 10th session to submit everything by the end of that day. If you don't submit it, I I will have to fail the assignment for it. And again, the number one thing that really makes people fail in this class is just missing assignments. That's about it. Like, to be kind of blunt about it, like the participation is important and all this stuff, but if you miss out on your capstone or project, it's really going to hurt your grade. So even if you think it's absolutely not complete or anything, just submit it anyway. If it's like the last minute or anything, just make sure you get some of those points. Again, I'm a bit more lenient. Just keep me up to date with that. Awesome. Um, you guys are very nice to me, so I don't need to go over the conduct or anything, so that's great. And again, my email, you guys all know my email by now, but again, just email me with any questions that you might have.